Hi, my name is Kim Smagula, and I am 25 years old, and I ran the New York City Marathon this fall. So I moved to New York City when I was 22, and the first year that I lived in the city, I witnessed the New York City Marathon and the excitement of it on Marathon Day. Marathon Sunday in New York is like one of the best days of the year. Everybody comes out, everybody's on the streets. The following year, my roommate and I decided to sign up for the marathon ourselves. We had watched it for the second year, and we decided that we wanted to do it ourselves, to do running recreationally, but I was never really that fast of a runner or that good of a runner. But I figured, if not now, then when? I'm in my 20s, I'll figure it out. Honestly, was super overwhelmed and a little nervous when I first got the email saying that I had gotten accepted into the marathon. But also at the same time, I knew that I was super lucky because I think it's like only 2% of the people that apply get in. So I had to just take it as a sign that I was meant to do this. It's gonna be crazy. I had like a lot of training to do. I had to really start running.
In order to train for the New York City Marathon, I followed a 20-week training program through the Hal Higdon training program. He's a famous runner and trainer.
And we had heard from a few of our friends that had already run the New York City Marathon, that they followed his plan. He has like a beginner, an intermediate, and an advanced training plan. So I chose the beginner 20-week training plan. And so it started around, I had to start running around June, and then it brought me all the way into November. Sometimes I would also include some incline walks and some incline runs at the gym, just to get some more cardio in. And also I would do the incline sprints on the treadmill to really get my like speed up. It's really good for your like speed and agility to run on the treadmill. So the training plan consisted of running 3 or 4 days a week, and then the other days of the week consisted of either cross training, so that included any kind of strength training or anything else besides running. So like yoga, Pilates, just anything besides running. So I decided to run 3 times a week. So my plan was to run Monday, Wednesdays, and either Fridays or Saturdays. On Tuesdays, Thursdays, or one of the other days that I wasn't running, I would do strength training. So I rotated between running and doing strength training. And then every once in a while, I included some kind of yoga to really help my muscles relax and get a good stretch in. Before every run, I would do like 10 minutes of dynamic stretching. So that included just like regular stretches, but then also moving my body around, getting my muscles warmed up, targeting certain areas that you use most when you're running. And it was also super important to stretch after all my runs. So I did kind of a similar but slower stretch routine after my runs, really let my body cool down, let my muscles relax, and I found that to be super important. Before my long runs on Saturdays or Sundays, I tried to do it on the weekends because I had more time. I would usually get up, definitely hydrate myself, drink electrolytes, and my go-to breakfast was always a piece of toast and 2 eggs. I either had the eggs hard-boiled or just regularly scrambled. And I even ate that same breakfast on the day of the marathon. On the day of the marathon, I had 2 hard-boiled eggs that I had made previously and a half of a bagel. So going into marathon day, I knew I had done all the training, but I definitely had a lot of aches and pains. Like my whole body was definitely not feeling as good as it was at the start of my training. I had a bit of like an ankle injury that was bothering me for like the second half of my 20 weeks of training. So I was a little nervous about that, just not being on my normal like training locations. Like I knew where all of the turns were, all of the hills were when I was training, but obviously on game day, I didn't know where those things were. I had read a lot of articles, I had watched a lot of videos online of people kind of giving tips and tricks, but when the day actually comes, you never know how things are going to work out. So I was definitely nervous, but honestly, I was in really high spirits. I was very excited. It was filled with a lot of unknowns. I really didn't know how it was all gonna play out. I didn't know if I was gonna be able to finish because at that point, the longest run I had gone on was 20 miles. So like I still had 6 more miles to go from there. So that's a lot of running past what I had trained. And my 20-mile run that I did during training was hard, and I was dying by mile like 18.
The course of the New York City Marathon contains all 5 boroughs of New York City. You start in Staten Island, go through Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and Manhattan, finishing in Central Park.
The first 3 miles of the race were a total warm-up. Going over the bridge from Staten Island into Brooklyn was tough. There was a lot of adrenaline, a lot of nerves, a lot of emotions, but I was still kind of warming up. My body was like a little achy, I wasn't feeling too great, and I was feeling a little nervous. Once mile 3 hit, I totally got a burst of energy. The crowd started to pick up. And from 3 to 10, I was on top of the world. I ran those miles feeling great. I was having so much fun. Then from mile, let's say 10 to 16, I still was feeling good. There was a lot of high energy in Brooklyn. I was really trying to feed off of the crowd. I was purposely running along the perimeters of the racing path because people yell out your name, they cheer for you, and it was super motivating. Then getting to the Queensboro Bridge, everybody always says that's one of the hardest parts of the marathon, and that's when I started to feel it a little bit. My legs were hurting, I was feeling tired, the bridge was really quiet, and then getting over the Queensboro Bridge into Manhattan, I was on top of the world. I ran up First Ave so fast, I got to see my boyfriend and all of my friends and my family, and it was truly like a crazy adrenaline rush. I was crying, I had a smile on my face, every emotion that you could possibly feel, I felt. It was truly a euphoric feeling. And then I hit mile 18 at the top of First Ave, and I started to crash a little bit. So from 18 to 20, I was really struggling. Once I reached mile 23, I was like, all right, 3 miles left. I've run 3 miles so many times in my life, I can definitely finish. But what I didn't know is Central Park is one of the hilliest parts of the race. So I had tons of hills to get through from mile 23 to 26. But I knew a lot of my friends and my family were in Central Park, so I just kept pushing. I just wanted to see them. I was in so much pain from head to toe. My body felt like jello. I had no energy left, so I just kept pushing through. And finally at mile 26, I had 0.2 left, was when I was like, all right, let's just do this. And I went as fast as I could, those last 0.2, and crossed the finish line and immediately started crying.
Finishing the marathon was one of the most rewarding things ever. Even though I was in such pain, the euphoric feeling that I had was, I can't even describe it. It was something that I've never felt before. There was so much adrenaline pumping in my body. I felt like I wasn't even in as much pain as I probably should have been because of the amount of adrenaline pumping in my body. And it was just amazing. It was the most rewarding thing. All of my training paid off. And I couldn't believe that I had just run 26.2 miles. I felt like the luckiest girl in the world as I ran the marathon and saw all of my family, my friends on the sidelines cheering me on. It was so supporting. I felt so lucky to have all of those people on my side cheering me on throughout the whole day. I know it wasn't easy for them either to get around the city, to try to see me in different locations throughout the course. But it was so amazing seeing them as I ran. It gave me the most motivation and made me so happy. I cried tears of joy all day. After finishing the marathon, the #1 question that everybody always asks me is, are you gonna do it again next year? Every time I say, maybe not next year, but maybe in 10 years, 20 years down the line, maybe I'll do it again. But there definitely is a feeling after finishing that you want to keep doing more. Once being able to complete it once, you feel like you can kind of complete anything and finish anything that you really set your mind to. I do think that maybe further on in my life, I would like to try to do something like that again.